Maybe since we scheduled it, it won't.
Are you live?
Hello. Tis live.
All right. Well, welcome to what's going to be our final live stream. This is the third one we've done. And see who shows up, answer any questions you might have.
Grandfather Outdoor says howdy.
Hey, Eddie, how's it going?
That's it. You can keep talking.
All right. Well, where we're at now in this thing is we're working on our post-trail videos. You've seen the first one. Second one should be out Tuesday. And then there'll be a few more on Tuesdays after that. This next one's going to be the what was in my backpack when I came off the trail. Went through all that. I went through the what I had, how it worked, and the current prices, everything. I didn't go back and look at what I paid. I looked at what the price is for that stuff now. Who else you see?
Jackie on the go says, "Would you do it again?"
I would not. You know, from the beginning, I was not a backpacker. I am not a backpacker. I'm not a long distance hiker. I've never had a backpack on in my life before I set out on this journey. What I will say is I enjoyed it very much. I enjoyed every day out there, and some days were tougher than others, and different feelings and emotions at different times during the trail. But I have no plans to do any other long distance hikes. I'll probably do some short day hikes with my grandkids, and we'll see what happens. Slider over here has done 55 miles of the long trail. She said the other day, she said, I just might finish that.
Might.
So
TBD. Cliffhanger.
But I'm not looking for another challenge and another challenge and another challenge. I was just looking for a big challenge. And if I completed it, I was going to hang my hat on it and be done. Too many of these famous football stars and basketball stars, they just go 1 or 2 years too long. Old Grayman wants to quit on a winner. So, hope that answers.
That probably answers. Oh, Wanda Hale says woohoo.
Hey, Wanda.
That probably answers Trish's question. What are your plans for your next hike?
I tell you, I haven't walked more than 1,500 steps a day since I got home. So I don't have any other plans to hike. Just, like I said, if the grandkids want to go somewhere and do something, I'll probably walk with them. But I don't. It's just one and done for me. Who else you see?
Grandfather Outdoors. With all that hair on your face, you and Brewer, or without all the hair on your face, you and Brewer look a lot alike.
No, we are a lot alike, and actually, me and this one a lot alike too. I think I've told you all this on the channel before I wrote it, but Beth, who's not Kate's mom, looks at us and says that Slider is a spit out of my mouth. That's how she describes Kate. So I take that as a compliment.
Yeah. Jackie on the go says, "What would you say was the hardest part of the hike? My husband and I just finished a section and it was tough."
Well, what was hard for me was the technical 200 miles of New Hampshire and southern Maine. We switched from walking or hiking, to mountain climbing. And the very hardest part for me was to climb up. Oh shoot! Now I can't. The Wildcats. The first Wildcat uh, had to put the poles in the pack and just hand over fist. And uh, the Wildcat range and into the Carters, I did days that were 5 and 6 miles long. And that's when I kind of learned that it's not how far you go, it's how much energy you expend. And I was I was going through my tank every day. And I realized if I tried to stick to some random number of miles that I thought I should be able to conquer each day, that I would have run out of gas.
Did you feel disappointed on those short days? Or just because you hadn't put those goals for I want to get 10 miles today or
Well,
whatever?
it makes you take a step back because you're used to, you know, basically when you're walking in normal, and I say normal, anything really from Georgia up through Maryland really is what I would consider normal. And you can walk 2 miles an hour, and if you walk 10 hours a day, that's 20 miles. But once you get up into that New Hampshire and southern Maine, you never know what the trail is going to give you. And sometimes you're walking 1 mile an hour, sometimes you're walking 3/4 miles an hour. So I wasn't disappointed. It just had to change the way you looked at things. You had to change your mindset a little bit. Who else we got?
Boo Mad Hatter says, we so enjoyed your wonderful disposition. You did a fantastic job. If you want to come back to New Hampshire, we can walk.
Well, I appreciate that. I told y'all all along that I knew what I was getting myself in for. And if I knew it ahead of time, I couldn't complain about it. So I just tried to take everything in stride, take one day at a time, and that worked for me. And it allowed me to enjoy it. There was a few stressful moments. Uh, Getting across the presidentials because of the amount of mileage above tree line was a little stressful, but that day worked out okay. And I was really concerned about climbing Katahdin. That's why I wanted Brewer to come with me. And it worked out that both could come. And I was really tickled because I knew if I got myself in a spot I wasn't too comfortable, they could talk me out of it, talk me through it. But as it turned out, we didn't have any problems like that. We got up, we got down, we got done.
He needed his brute strength
Yeah,
to pull him
he
physically.
pulled me a couple of times. Yeah.
Uh, um, let's see. Keel says, hi, Poppy. I got a foot massage mat.
Yeah.
Crank that up to 8 and stand on it.
Deborah found something similar to a Tim's mat where you can put your feet on it and turn the dial up a little bit. It's supposed to help you, but it gives you a shock once you pass a certain threshold.
Well, she put it on his feet, which are still numb.
Yeah.
And then she told me to stand on it. Cranked all the way up. It was brought me back to childhood, getting shocked by an electric fence.
Yeah.
Let's see. Rob T says, what was your longest stretch out on the trail without stopping in a town?
Well, the longest stretch would have been the 100 mile. We went from Monson to Abo Bridge. It took us 7 days. Previous to that, I think I had been out 6 days. And I was prepared to do a 6-day stretch. I had enough battery power. That was my limiting factor, is having enough battery to recharge my phone and my watch. I could get through 6 days.
Let's see. Mark Cummings says, sorry I'm late. You still look like a lean, mean hiking machine.
Grayman lost 52 pounds out there, people. I started out at about 229. When I got home, I was 177. So it might have been 54 pounds. Who's counting? And you know what? I haven't put hardly any back on yet. I've been here for 3 weeks. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen there. Uh, Nails, he's pretty lean too. He was giving us a nice shot on his summit photo of his leanness.
Jackie says, "Do you feel like you're in better shape now before you started, and how much did your pack weigh?"
My base weight at the end was 17 pounds 1 ounce. I had it lower than that at times. I had it down in the 15 range. Uh, but we'd put 10 or 15 pounds of food and water in there easily and fuel. So oftentimes I had a 30-pound pack, 32 pounds. Sometimes it'd be 28. All depends on how much food. Uh, Pack weight didn't really bother me that much. I didn't go any faster slack packing than I did with the full pack. Um, the weight didn't seem to bother me, and I attribute that to the pack itself. I think it was a good design. It worked well for me.
Nora says, "Hi, Poppy."
Hi, Nora.
Well, Wanda asks, "What was the strangest thing you saw on the trail?"
Well, I don't know that I saw anything too strange. I did see a porcupine, which I've never seen one of those in my life. They don't live around here. Um, but it was pretty routine, pretty everyday. Um,
What was that thing y'all saw? That running up the
I'm not
tree?
sure what it was, whether it was a mink or some sort of martin.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what it was either.
Yeah,
You saw a seaplane land,
yeah, saw seaplane
or
land.
I don't know,
Yeah,
a lake plane.
but really didn't see anything that stands out as being odd. And even most of the people were fairly normal. There's a couple people out there that kind of live on the trail, and they'll they spend years out there at a time. And but most people were either retired people like me, or the 20 somethings that were getting this hike out of the way before they started real life.
um, Tea Party said, "Was the difficult climb in Lehigh, PA Valley area tough compared to the Whites type climbs?"
Well, it was tough and it was scary because climbing up the Lehigh Water Gap, there were some places where you just kind of had to stretch. And if you had slipped or fallen, it would be nothing to stop you from falling a great distance. Uh, so it was at least equal to some of the stuff we did in the Whites. And one of my buddies, Chris, he told me that after I mentioned to him what I thought about that Lehigh Water Gap climb, he said that we wouldn't see anything like that until we got to New Hampshire, and he was right.
Caleb asks, "How much did your hammock weigh?"
The hammock doesn't weigh too much, and I don't know those numbers right offhand, but
Might be in one of the original
it
videos.
is
We
it
might have
is in the,
itemized, like line itemed it.
yeah. But my sleep system only was slightly heavier than a conventional tent setup. Depends on how much money you spend on a tent.
Trish asked, "What did you end up spending on your hike approximately?"
I haven't figured that up yet, but that's going to be one of the videos. Just doing the gear part, I'm thinking was close to $6,000 just the gear that I bought. Uh, but I haven't added up, and to be honest, I spent more than most people would, particularly because I had people come and visit. We had an Airbnb in Warwick, New York, was probably $1,100 or $1,200. We had another Airbnb in Lincoln, New Hampshire. Same thing. It was probably $1,100 or $1,200, and so most people wouldn't be making those kind of expenditures. And I ate out every chance I could, and but I will. That will be one of the post trail videos. I just haven't put those numbers together yet.
Jackie said, "Have you inspired any friends or family to do a through hike?"
Well, Slider, I'm going to tell this story. I was going to let you tell it, but I'm going to tell it. When Slider was with me, we met a flip flopper. Uh, Goes by Stingray. And so she got to meet him on the trail. And previously, when her husband walked a day with me, he actually met Stingray as well. So both Kate and Collins had met him. Well, when Kate was up there at the end of her hike, her shuttle came to pick her up, take her back to the airport, and just so happened Stingray was in the parking lot. He was with his uncle, and they had walked together for a couple of days, and they were getting ready to separate. And Stingray needed a ride into town, so Slider asked the shuttle driver, said, "Can we drop him off in town?" He said, "It's your shuttle, you can do whatever you want." So she dropped him off in town, got his phone number, said when he got to Roanoke or Daleville to call her, and she'd pick him up, bring him home, let him get a shower, do his laundry, eat, everything we look for when we have a town stop. And he texted her just the other day. He's supposed to be here either tomorrow or Tuesday. So she's waiting on a call for him. She said she'd slack back him a couple days or whatever. And I'd be curious to see what kind of plans they make.
Mm-hmm. So I texted Dad. I said, not me, after being on a week's vacation at the beach, trying to figure out how to go hike a few more days. So we had the map up just before this, looking to see where I could drop in and where I could hop in and walk a little too. But through hike, probably not. I think I probably will finish the long trail since I've got a good start on it. And that's a lot less daunting than the AT, but never say never. What about you?
I don't know. I've always considered it. Definitely not anytime soon, only because of the season of life we're in right now. Got a 9 and a 10-year-old, and that keeps us pretty busy. So 6 months away is just not going to happen now. So
sounds kind of nice though.
I'm not really sure what the future holds.
I love my children.
So I'll say a maybe.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Let's see. Worth every penny. Trish said, how many, Boo, a Mad Hatter says, how many crossings approximately in Maine? Which was the most difficult?
I can't remember exactly, but I was thinking there's somewhere between 5 and 7 river crossings. And it all depends on the weather. If it's been a rainy season or a rainy spell, they can be too much water to cross. But I was very fortunate to have good weather for my whole trip. There was some flooding events behind me that I heard about. But I walked all the way through New Hampshire and Vermont. I never got my feet wet. Mm-hmm. And that's unheard of.
It was really nice when I was in Vermont, and I was prepared for the worst. I brought 2 emergency ponchos. Yeah. And it didn't rain.
But I can come up with at least 5, 6, 7 stream crossings in Maine. And but when I crossed each one of them, everything was below my knees.
I skipped a few things here. Okay. Wanda said, after carrying everything you need on your back for so long, how does it feel to be back home with all the conveniences of today's world?
I tell you, I just slipped right back into it. It feels good. I was very happy to be able to finish this thing, and I was very happy to come home. And one of the things to my advantage, Beth and I live in a quiet place. It's not loud. It's not busy. I'm retired. I didn't have to go back to work. I have my home. I think about some of these young people who give up their housing and quit their job. They've got all this stress and turmoil about re-entering civilization. Now, these 2 gave me grief on the way home. Wow. They said, "Dad, you just can't whip it out and pee anywhere now."
We called it public training. He didn't think it was funny.
But I've actually had no problems sliding back into home life. I've just been taking it easy, trying to get the numbness to come out of my feet. I hope that's going to happen sometime. but not a problem. I'm glad to be home.
I was only gone for a week, and I came home. I was like, "What can I get rid of?" Oh, Nora says she's planning to when she's older.
So Nora, my granddaughter, she may be the one that might be willing to take on a through hike, probably more so than anybody so far. We'll see.
Well, when you get to this area, call Auntie. She'll slack pack you. She'll put you up. Let's see. Flower Power says watching from Harper's Ferry.
Well,
There's
good.
literally no cell service. Hitting the trail tomorrow. Going to channel your positivity through this section hike. Loved your trek.
Flower Power.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had a lot of faithful supporters. She was one of them, Wanda, and, you know, on and on. And I certainly did appreciate hearing from you all a lot of times on a daily basis. So enjoyed that. Appreciate that very much. And I felt like a lot of you kind of got who I am, and I appreciated that because what you saw is, you know, what you get.
Ed says, what gear would you change out if you could have changed a while on the trail? Anything that you regretted or wanted to change out?
I wouldn't have changed anything other than I might have tried a different raincoat. But truthfully, I used the raincoat early. I used it once or twice late, but in the middle, I just let it rain on me.
I think the only thing that you said was like the most troublesome was the gloves.
Yeah,
like that's the thing you traded out 3 times, but it didn't.
I never found any gloves that were waterproof or warm. I ended up just putting a pair of cotton gloves in my pack, and some real cold mornings I'd put those on until the chill got off for the day, or until your hands warmed up to your cork poles. But I wouldn't have traded out anything. I was really happy with all my gear.
Mm-hmm. Trish says, have you heard of Christmas toe? Did you experience it? What's that?
I don't know what
Christmas
toe is.
Nora wants to know too what Christmas toe is. Is it what Evan has?
It's colorful.
It's pretty red. There's some green in it too.
It's gnarly. Yeah. Tea Party said you said you have no residual knee pain. That's pretty surprising.
I really feel like, and this ties into one of the other questions that previously tonight. I really feel like my body is in better shape. I think I helped all my joints by using them. I feel like, you know, I pump blood through my knees and hips and ankles and all those joints. I haven't had any joint pain, any muscle pain. You know, the only trouble I had was with my little toe, rubbing my next toe. I was afraid the skin was going to break there. I mean, it wore some calluses. It was on the edge of becoming raw. And my greatest fear, particularly when I got to Maine, was that if my feet got wet for too long, it would soften up, it would open up, and I'd end up getting an infection that could, you know, put me off the trails. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, but I really feel like, and someone said I probably added 5 years to my life by doing this. We'll see.
Brewer, would you like to comment on what Maine did to your feet?
Maine is very moist, as y'all have seen in some of Dad's videos. We started out the first day, I think we got dumped on. So my feet were soaking wet right out of the gate, and, you know, couched to 14 to 17 mile days. I don't know if it was too much, too hard, too fast, or what, but that in combination with the moisture and wet feet, they just started to come undone. Skin peeled off the heels and toes, and lost my big toenail on my right foot, or I'm losing it.
I think you must have kicked something.
So yeah,
it wasn't your shoes that did it. You must have kicked a rock or a root.
Yeah. So it did a number on my feet.
The dogs are barking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, y'all know I started out doing 8 miles a day, and Evan probably got the worst end of the deal. I started out at 8 and I built up. When Slider came, we were just like we were towards the end of the hike, but still had, several hundred miles to go. So she just kind of got the normal experience. And, we did some 8 and 10, and I think one 12-mile day. But Evan pretty much got the 100-mile death march because I was kind of ready to be done by then. So I just kind of watched him and just tried to see how much I thought he could stand. But he did it to his credit. I think what was the most we did? 16 something?
Yeah, it was just
Yeah.
shy of 17.
That's a big ask for somebody who's not regularly hiking.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a while to build up.
I think it was good for morale that he was there.
Yeah, that was his whole purpose.
Unfortunate for your feet.
Yeah.
My feet will be fine. We had fun.
Yeah, we did. But Evan did like about 125 miles. And, that's no small feat right there.
Mm-hmm. Tea Party also asked where Dragonfly is.
I don't know. I thought about texting her today, and I haven't. She was supposed to go do the Smokies once she finished up north, and then she's got some to finish here in Shenandoah National Park and some around the Blue Ridge Parkway. And I'm going to slack back her. She's supposed to let me know when she needs me, and I'm going to help her finish. If she can complete it, we think she's going to be the oldest person to ever complete the AT.
What about your shoes? Did you stick with the same brand or change out?
I started off with a pair of Keens. I did that. They were waterproof. I did that because I thought I might be hiking in snow to start with. I changed them out in Hot Springs, put about 275 miles on them. And then I used 4 pair of the Topo Ultra Venture 3. Loved them. Didn't try anything else. Didn't feel like I need to. They held up well. No issues with them coming apart or anything like that. And we're not easy on them. It's very rough out there. You're beating and banging on them all the time. So I'm very happy with them. I actually bought a different style, the Mountain Racer, and that's what I'm wearing kind of for my everyday casual shoe now. If I'm going to be doing any kind of walking or maybe something a little athletic, I'm wearing a pair of Topos for that now. Just a different style.
Nora asked if you miss the wilderness.
We went camping this weekend with the grandkids. Brewer and his brother-in-law Collins and I took 4 of the grandkids to a state park. Actually, within a couple miles of the AT. It's about a day north of Daleville, Virginia. It's called North Creek Campground. So I went Thursday and stayed by myself because I wanted to make sure we got the particular site that we like. And sure enough, Friday and Saturday, the campground filled up. So I was glad I went a day early. They came on Friday. So, I was back out there camping in my hammock again. Mm-hmm. So I enjoy sleeping outside and I enjoy the hammock. And I'm going to keep that for car camping with the grandkids when we're not taking the motor home.
Mm-hmm. Amy says Brewer is handsome. Can I get his number?
No, Amy.
He's married.
He's married.
Rhonda says, what was your favorite trail food made on the trail? Tell us about your trail eating habits, Grayman.
Honey buns and Skittles.
I told y'all this, and I don't know what it was, but it was at Sabbath Day Pond Shelter, and that's in Maine, southern Maine. And one of the Sobo hikers built a fire. He got the rocks around the fire hot, and then he mixed up some sort, looked like bread, just like a big biscuit to me. And he put all kind of stuff in it, and I don't know what he put in it. And it actually got a little charred in places. And when he decided it was done, he pulled it off the rock. He gave me a piece. We smeared butter all over it and ate it. It was the best thing I ever put in my mouth. But I have no idea what it was. maybe someone knows what kind of recipe, but it looked just like, you make a big biscuit. Everyone's grandmother used to make that big biscuit. That's what it looked like.
Tea party. Well, meanwhile, Brewer's children are having secondhand embarrassment about Amy's mom. That is not my mom. Wanda, or no, I'm sorry. Tea Party says, "Did you carry an old-fashioned compass?"
I did not. I relied on the white blazes and I relied on the Far Out app to navigate. And I would look at the sun, and usually they would come out like, why are we going south? Why are we going east? Why are we going west? We should be going north. But there's days when you would just go north, and you would turn east, and then you turn back south. In New Hampshire, they'll run you up one ridge and turn you around, run you up the next one, and turn you around, run you up the next one. And but yeah, the trail does certain things to get on certain pieces of property that's been acquired over the years. And if they would stretch that trail out, it'd be about 1,300 miles long. If they'd stretch it out straight as a string, it'd be about 1,300 miles long. Wanda, I don't know if it was you or Flower Power. Someone said that there was a couple of times you was concerned about me. What was that about?
Concerned about you?
About maybe might having trouble or concerned about my possibility of success, I would think.
Oh. In the meantime, Boo Mad Hatter says, "Did you get tired of hanging the bear bag every night? Looked exhausting."
No, it was really pretty easy. It got hard the further we went north because we got into more of an evergreen forest. And the only evergreen trees that had any kind of limbs you could use were hemlock trees. Anywhere down the rest of the country, when you're hanging in hardwood trees, you can find a good limb. But that was one of the benefits of camping out by myself, which I did most of the time. I didn't have to compete with, say, someone in a shelter area for bear hang trees. There's just not that many ideal trees in any given spot. But also, most every state had either bear cables or bear boxes. They wanted us to use them, and they provided them. So when I was in a shelter area and they had bear boxes, I used them. But when I was out on my own, I can tell you there was only maybe 3 times that I did not hang my food, and that was just because there was no limbs available to do it. And it was because it was evergreen forest.
What would you say the percentage was staying in shelters versus stealth camping?
Well, I don't know. Most people will do the shelter areas. I enjoyed it because of the water source usually was around the shelter, and also because of the bear boxes. And most people like, the social aspect of it. In the South, all the way up through West Virginia, hiking beside the trail is permitted. It's also permitted in Pennsylvania if you're a thru hiker. The rest of the states really wanted you to hike and camp in the designated areas. Not so much in Maine. I think they're just a little more lax about it. But
Ed says he's got a jet. He's got to still get up early and make money. He says. He said, "Anyway, congrats. Looks like you're doing well."
All right, Ed. Appreciate all your support.
Art Mercer said, "Did you spend any nights in a shelter?"
No, I never stayed in any shelter. I did not have a pad. I just had, my hammock and my underquilt, so I couldn't have laid on any hard surface and gotten any sleep. And a lot of times people said or asked me, what did you ever have trouble finding 2 trees? No. When you get up in the upper elevations, the trees get smaller, but I never failed to find 2 trees to hang my hammock on the whole trip. Now, one time I got all set up and I sat down in my hammock, and the tree I was hooked to just pulled over, just fell over. And up north, a lot of times you've got maybe 3-4 inches of duff on top of solid rock. So the roots just spread out as far as they can, trying to get a grab on something. So the trees aren't really as strong and more susceptible to falling over.
Steve asked, as you lost body weight, did you notice your hiking performance improve?
No, I couldn't physically tell that I lost weight from a performance standpoint. I didn't feel lighter. I didn't feel more tired. I was concerned about it from a mental standpoint, that I wanted to get done before my body conked out on me.
Before it ate itself.
Before it ate itself. That's a real thing. But, now being 50 pounds lighter, I don't really feel any different. I feel normal. I don't look the same. And there'll be some before and after photos coming up if you can stand that. But I couldn't really tell it from a physical standpoint.
Flower Power says, wasn't me. I never doubted your success. But then Wanda said, yeah, just after we did Franconia and the rock climbing, I wouldn't want to do it alone, just in case of slipping and getting hurt. She knew you could do it. So I think they were concerned the further you got. She was north and higher up.
You knew what was coming, and I didn't yet know. Yeah, I got you.
Trish asked, what was the name of the little clamp you used when tying your bear bag?
It's called a dog bone, and you can look it up at Garage Grown Gear. They've got 2 sizes, and I prefer the larger size. Y'all might remember that I got my bear bag stuck one day, and a young lady by the name of Resume came along, and between us, I was able to bend the limb down enough that I could, with her help, I could get my hands on my bag, and I actually had to break it loose from the I ended up tearing off part of the bag to get my bag loose. But where am I going with this? What was the question?
It's called a dog bone.
Oh, dog bone. So what had happened is the dog bone turned kind of edgewise and went started to go through the carabiner, which effectively locked it. I couldn't pull the bag up or down. What you want is that dog bone to go up against your carabiner broadside. So you need to be very careful. That's why you use a pretty small carabiner and get the bigger size dog bone. It's a very simple little thing. Works like a charm.
Steve said that he is recently retired, 64-year-old. By the way, my wife and I enjoy watching every morning. Big congratulations on a job well done.
I appreciate that.
Well, if you're retired, Steve, the trail's there for you.
I've told you all that, Beth and I have been watching Thru Hikers since the 2018 season. So watching other people doing it, really, when I decided to do it, I was really inspired to do this YouTube vlog, and get on the other side of the camera. I enjoyed watching other people so much. I knew I wanted to do it as well. And it was interesting being on the other side. But I enjoyed doing it, and I really appreciate what Slider did to make it possible and really make it professional, because she is a professional in that sort of area. But I enjoyed putting it out there as much as anything else. It's like I said, everything about this trip just adds up to a great experience.
Tea Party asked, did you go to Candy Sugar when you saw a hill coming?
No, but what I will tell you is you knew the moment you ran out of food in your belly, you could feel it. And you could also feel it the moment you put something in it. So it would have been wise just to eat something at the bottom of every hill or before the bottom of every hill. I couldn't actually go uphill and eat at the same time. I would probably choke myself to death or inhale it. And going downhill, I was trying not to break my neck, and I was always letting myself down with my poles as easy as I could, trying not to shock my knees. So I only ate on the flats, but you could definitely tell. And when Slider came out, we went to town and it got lunch one time. Where was that?
Bennington.
Bennington,
Yeah.
Vermont. We got lunch and we stopped at the gas station and got some snacks, and I got a pint of ice cream, and we got a ride, hitched a ride back to the trailhead. I sat down there and ate that pint of ice cream. She says, "How do you do that? Look at that hill up there. That's what we got to climb." I said, "Kate, that ice cream's gone already."
We'd had a burrito, a whole burrito each, and then I had chocolate milk, and then he had a pint of ice cream, and I was about to come undone going up it, and he was like, "It is all gone.
It's all gone.
It's all gone."
That stuff goes to work as soon as you put it in you. When you're at a deficit.
Let's see. Flower Power asked, does the phone have to be turned sideways when filming or up and down?
Sideways.
Yeah. Sideways was what I demanded, so that you could watch, like on a 16:9 frame, like a TV. But if you're posting on like YouTube Shorts or social media or things like that, doing vertical is best. But if you want to do like a daily vlog, doing it sideways, because otherwise it'll show just like black on the sides, and aesthetically I wasn't interested in that.
It actually was hard for me to do in the beginning because I was used to doing it vertically.
Mm-hmm. And also, pro tip, your phone is automatically set to like a 4:5 ratio when you take pictures, but you should be able to click like 3 dots or something, depending on what phone you have, to set it to 16:9 so that you can frame your picture better.
Did I do that?
You did not. It's okay though.
Since you didn't do it for me? I
fixed it.
You fixed it.
Steve says he's mulling it over. Did 6 miles a day on a lake trail.
Well, that's a good start. I did 8 miles all the way through Georgia, except for the last day. I did 4 10-mile days into Franklin, and then I just crept up from there.
Amy says, Nora says she does not think that I'm okay. Nora. Flower Power says, did you just use your hand to hold the phone, or did you use some sort of device?
Just like this. I just walked down the trail and showed it. But the camera in here has that stabilization feature, and it really worked and helped. Several people asked me, how did you get that stabilized? What did you do? I just carried it and walked. And you saw me fling it a couple times on our trip. So no, I didn't. I carried a tripod with me for most of the trip. I think I sent it home with you after Vermont.
Mm-hmm. That tripod really bothered Amy while you had it.
It's in my shoulder.
It's just sticking in your neck.
Yeah, sticking in my neck. Yeah. But no, I just held the camera in my hand.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I think that's all the questions so far.
Yeah, go back and look. You might have missed one.
I am. If you have any anecdotes you'd like to share.
It's funny how quickly you slip into trail life. But I slipped out of it just as quickly too. Uh, unless I'm actually working on something like these videos or this live, or someone talks to me about it, it's really not in my consciousness anymore. Uh, I know I did it, and I'm very happy I did it. And it's still a huge thing to walk 2,200 miles, but it's only been 3 weeks. But it's just like it surprises me how fast you slipped in and you slipped out. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that I did most of it by myself. I think what a lot of people miss about the trail is their trail families, the people they got attached to out here on the trail. Uh, and then, different different times of life. Like I said earlier, if you have to go back to a job or go hunt a job or go hunt a place to live, all that stress make you want to stay on the trail, make you miss the trail. But I'm just very happy that I was able to complete it. Bandit says that only 1% of people my age will complete it. Now that surprises me a little bit, and I don't know where he got the numbers, but he heard it somewhere. So that's a pretty small group. So I'm very proud to be able to do it. Happy to do it, but just as happy to be home. So one more pop up.
Yeah. Caleb was saying that the something, I can't quite decipher what it
Okay.
is. Something about a Rice Krispie treat.
Yeah, I ate several Rice Krispie treats out there. I tried different things, but we talk about what I did right. I was happy with my gear. I was happy with the way I started slow and built up. I was happy with the way my body performed, except for my little toad, and I can't do anything about that. But what I really did a poor job of was eating. I did not have that figured out. I think anybody contemplating a through hike needs to have multiple recipes of things that they can fix, high calorie, and towards the middle, high fat. I don't know what the key is. I saw people out there who maintain their weight, who still look solid, and I see people out there like me looks like a scarecrow. So that's where I dropped the ball the most, was not being able to have enough variety, enough things, because it doesn't take you long to eat much of anything where you've had enough of it. You don't want it anymore. But whenever I got to town, I would eat and eat and eat. And I would always try to fit in an extra meal when I was in town. But if I had to do anything over again, I would work on having a better inventory of recipes for trail food. Another thing that I'll just throw out there, random. My starting number was 332. My number in Harper's Ferry was 267. And my finishing number at Katahdin was 475 or 4. What's yours? It's just 4 or 5. Yeah. I think it was about 474. So there were still several people behind me. But that's just random info.
Nora said, how did you get to send the video, and how do you edit the video? What do you use? I'll take that question. He uploaded his videos to Google Drive whenever he had internet at a hostel or a hotel. And then I had his login to his Google Drive, and so I would get in there, download them, and he would number them in the order, the day in the order that they happened in, so I would know sequentially what to do. And then I use CapCut to edit them, and we did a segment about this
Yeah.
on one. I
In
don't know what
Vermont.
in Vermont. The whole process, but I put together the intro and the outros using Canva. That was before I was familiar with CapCut. So that's what we used to do the videos. Am I missing anything?
No.
No. Um,
We were fortunate that in her business, she had a way of acquiring and paying for the music that we used.
mm-hmm. I had a subscription to a stock service that I could go grab that stuff.
Yeah.
Boo Mad Hatter says, we love watching you every day for the 2024 season. Thanks for all your great works, or all your work, Slider. Congratulations, Grayman. Great job, Brewer.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Team effort.
Team effort.
Well,
y'all have figured out that family means everything to us, and we have always spent most of our social time with family. We go to the beach. We go any time someone comes up with an idea, they'll say, "Hey, let's go do this." Everyone else says, "Okay," and we do. We go. We spend a lot of time together, and we enjoy each other. It's the way all families should be, and to us, it's not good or special. It's just normal. It's just kind of what it should be. So we feel very happy that we work together well and do this kind of stuff and can count on each other, and everybody comes through for each other. And it's no easy thing for Kate to put up this video every day with her own home-owned business and 3 kids, the youngest one being 2. Brewer coming out to drag his old man up Katahdin, which is all I asked him to do. And then it was his idea to do the 100 mile, and that just tickled me even more. So
that's a Burke Holder trait right there.
Let's
take something and make it harder, longer, more painful.
We talked about doing more because everybody kind of got to do a little stint, a handful of days here or there. And when you were in this area, I was the shuttle driver.
Yeah.
So I did that for 10 or 12 days, whatever it was. And then we knew we were going to summit together. And I was like, well, I got to do more. But then the 100 mile ends basically at the base of Katahdin. So it's like, if you want to do more, you got to go to the other end of the 100 mile.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do that.
And, my stepson Shad, he did the Smokies, and that was about 75 miles. And that was another place I was a little apprehensive about getting through. So I was glad to have company through the Smokies.
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere where you got much more rules and regulations and people looking over your shoulder, you kind of feel that way. But turned out that worked all right. Mm-hmm. Didn't have any problems with them either.
Yeah.
I didn't have any problems anywhere. Everybody was helpful. All the hikers want you to succeed. Anybody will help you do whatever they can. It's a very close-knit community, and I enjoyed everybody I met out there.
Mm-hmm.
And, even though I hiked by myself, I knew a lot of people. I had phone numbers for a lot of people. I got summit pictures from a lot of people. So, yeah.
One thing that I tell people, you're talking about, we spend a lot of time together as a family. So that's our social life, is when they would ask me about my hike with Dad, like, how was it? What was it like? And one of the things that I would tell everyone was, I was like, we don't have any baggage. Like, there's no unresolved issues. So it was just purely enjoyable, to be out there walking and sometimes talking, sometimes not. I'd ask him every once in a while, do you want me to shut up? But it was, we do enjoy spending time together. So that's something we do.
And I think y'all know by now, our delay was 12 days. And it was pretty much fixed that way from the beginning because I knew we were going to have to get through this 100-mile wilderness. It turns out we got from Monson to the summit in 9 days, but it still took us 2 days to get home. And we could have stopped somewhere probably and put together one video like the first day out of Monson to get us through. But as it was, when we got home on a Saturday, you had already had Sunday's video posted, I think. So we had one day that we were ahead.
Yep.
So I would encourage people just kind of forget about the delay and just try to look at it as it's real time. And we had the built-in delay, so we could get you all a video every day, even through the end, the 100-mile.
Tea Party asks your age.
I'm 65. I'll be 66 in January.
Caleb asked if he did a good job videoing. Did he video for you?
Yep, he did. He's, I would only turn the camera on me for the intro and the outro. Only when there was other people around do you actually get to see me walking or climbing or doing something. So Caleb did. He walked with me from Bowling Springs, Pennsylvania, into Carlisle, and yeah, he did video some for me. Kate did. Evan did. So that, and someone commented, it really was true. We were very fortunate, to have 3 cameras going for the summit. So that brought a lot better perspective than could have done with just one camera. So I was really happy with the way that turned out.
Wanda asked, did you notice any vegetarians on the trail?
There was vegans, vegetarians, there was all kind of diets. And, I couldn't keep myself fed, eating whatever I could, anything I could. I know it's harder for them, but people do it.
That Smiling Coyote, was that her name? I don't know if she was on the AT or she was on the Long Trail, but we ran into her in the Green Mountain House hostel.
Yeah.
She was a vegetarian, but she said, no, I will not be a vegetarian while I'm out here doing this. So she kind of made up her mind that she was going to eat whatever she needed to eat while she was out there hiking to make it work.
My watch said I was burning over 5,000 calories a day, and there was no way I could eat whatever I could get my hands on to get that much in me. And so, it's tougher if you have a kind of an alternative type diet like that. But some people did it, and they would stick with it. That's important to them. They did it, but it's just harder.
Thank you, Tea Party. It was a privilege and an honor to be Grayman's trail secretary. But the sun is setting on that part of my life. Rob T says, you and your family have done an awesome job documenting the journey. Appreciate you letting us tag along.
Rob grew up, there was one house between me and him. There was a family, I think, it seemed like there was about 4 of them, and Rob was younger, and he had a younger sister, or there was one sister younger than me, one older, and a brother older. But yeah, we played in the same neighborhood growing up, so I appreciate people like Rob following along. Like I said, I've got people from grade school, high school, some after school friends watched, some people from work watched, different folks, different areas of my life, and then a lot of you folks just enjoy the thru hikers, and so a lot of people I knew, and a lot of people that I didn't know, but I appreciate every one of you.
Trish asks, is there anyone you are watching or watched and enjoyed their thru hike?
I didn't watch anybody, but I'm going to go back and watch some people that I know. Uh, I've watched some of Gadget's videos. I was around Gadget and Sassafras, and so they were all vlogging. Um, so there's some people I've watched some of Tea Parties. Um, so I will, as I settle in, kind of get done with my trail work, I will probably go back and watch. And I also met some other people. Hank from Hamilton Farms. Met him early on. He was doing a section hike, but he's got a YouTube channel. Basically, uh, has a lot to do with old equipment, but other things as well. And we talked and found some common ground. And I've been watching some of his videos. Uh, and there's a couple more like that. Ed's got his own channel. He does some different things, and I've watched some of his. And so some of the people that they're not through hikers, I will watch a lot of their content. Uh, so I've got some. I'll be doing some viewing and commenting on some other people's channels, so they took the time, and I'm going to return the favor. And it's interesting to me too to see what other people are putting out.
David McCormick says, "Great job. Have enjoyed watching the journey."
David is a old high school buddy, and we worked in the same place for a while. Uh, Always enjoyed hanging out with David. And there was a group of about, I don't know, 6 or 8 of us that's kind of our post high school years, high school and later. We'll try to maybe get some of them together and visit with them because they've been watching and commenting. So try to get together and see some of them again. It's been 40 years.
Caleb said he remembered that there was a vegetarian when we did Trail Magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was.
We had to.
And that's something we didn't even consider. We were thinking, hikers are going to want a good meal, and we first we were just going to do the package stuff to where you're not cooking, you're not taking that additional risk of preparing food for someone. But it evolved into we had chicken, pasta salad, baked beans, but
Deborah got involved.
I think there was some bacon involved in the baked beans, so that kind of took that off.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody had a couple helpings of pasta salad. But yeah, we didn't consider that. We learned from that. I think we'll do Trail Magic again next year. I'll probably be going to trail days at least on Saturday next year.
Wanda said having all 3 cameras really did show us more of climbing the mountain and the technical areas than any hikers I have seen, and we watch a lot of thru hikers. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really fortunate. We didn't plan it that way; it just turned out that way. The camera never shows you how steep things really are, but coming off the mountain, when Slider was down below, Brewer and I, that was the best looking up that I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
She had 2 different shots there that I really liked, kind of showed how quickly we were coming down in a vertical line.
By the time I got down, my legs were flopping every which way. There was no controlling them.
Spaghetti legs.
Well, y'all know we summited the same day as Bluegrass and Bandit, and I talked to Bandit up there. I said I knew his videos were going to come out before mine. I had a 12-day delay. I think he was working on 5 or 6 days, and I asked him, not to show us, and until after mine came out, and he graciously agreed to do that. But those were the 2 that Slider picked up. We got off the mountain before they did, and Bandit's knee was really starting to bother him on that downhill. So Bluegrass was ahead of him. So here we were coming out the Park Road, here comes bluegrass. So I got out of the car, stood beside the road. Slider and Brewer took bluegrass back to the Katahdin Stream campground, and then after a while, here comes Bandit hobbling up the road, and
we said, "Get in."
yeah. So I stood out there beside the road while she did a little shuttling, but
we slack packed them into Baxter too.
Yeah.
When we were packing up, I said, "Put it in the car."
Yeah. So we enjoyed them. We spent the afternoon with them at A-Ball Bridge, and Groundhog was there with. I always have a hard time remembering her name.
Hummingbird.
And yeah, we sat at the picnic table all afternoon. We must have got there about 12, 1 o'clock, and Slider showed up with food, and it was just a very relaxing day. We made it through. We knew we had a 10-mile fairly easy walk into the Birches, and then we had the summit, and was this nice, pleasant social end to the trip.
Mm-hmm. Flower Power says, I found you on Tara's channel. That's the one that did the intro.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Candy Mama, is that her name?
Yeah.
Did you see that she finished her FKT? What is that?
No, it's the fastest known time. Okay. How did she do?
She crushed it. I don't know. That was that was what she said.
Yeah, I'm behind on really everything that went on this year. You really don't have the time or battery power to watch much out on the trail. Typically, if I felt like I had a little time, I would watch some movie clips. But I've got a lot of catching up to do. I didn't watch any news. I never turned on a TV set, even in a hotel room. I was just pretty much immersed in the trail. So whatever happened this year, I'm behind on, other than the people that I was around.
They said Sass is on the long trail now.
Really?
Yeah. And Flower Power said highly recommend her videos. And Chuck and Heather, don't you know if you know them or not. But Sassafras used to work for someone who had a pretty big YouTube channel.
I think that's right. I know she's
in the biz.
She was in the business of video production of some sort, some way, shape, or form. And she had to give that up to come out here.
Bradley said, amazing boost. So proud of you. By far the most famous of the PHBA. Yeah. Outstanding accomplishment, and the family involvement has been a wonderful feeling.
Brad, I'm at home. I'm at Kate's home right now in Roanoke. I'm not going to be home till about Wednesday or so, maybe Thursday.
TBD.
Yeah. I've got the same landline forever. You can look me up. Give me a call, and I'll get your contact information. We'll try to get together with some of those guys. Yeah. Anyone knows my name can find my number, because I've had it since 1981. Mm-hmm. Landline. Old school.
Old school. Pete on the AT from Woodstock, VA, had some of the best videos of the hard parts of the trail up north that he's seen. Pete on the AT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would do the same thing. We would watch 4 or 5 hikers, and after they all summited, usually sometime during the year, I would run across someone else that I thought was interesting. But instead of jumping in then, I would wait until we finished with the ones we were watching. Then I would go back and pick up on someone else. Sometimes I'd watch 2 or 3 other people, and depending on how long their videos were, you do 2, 3, 4 episodes a day, and get through their 6-month hike in about 2 months. But it's good entertainment.
That's it. Oh, Jack Montgomery asked, how much weight did you lose? He said, I'm sure it's already been asked, but.
Yeah, it was at least 52 pounds, depending on when you kind of get down, how well you're hydrated really makes a difference too. It can be 4 or 5 pounds difference just if you're plumb out of moisture or whether you're pretty well hydrated.
Mm-hmm.
And believe me, that changes day to day.
That was really noticeable. The first time we picked you up in Hot Springs, he was lacking water when he came off the mountain, and then he was a little fuller the next morning. So you can tell it is a day-to-day thing.
Yeah, I remember that. That was first time anybody was coming to visit, and I was going to meet him the day after, because to meet him that day, I would have had to pull like my longest day yet. And since they had a full car anyway, I thought, well, I'll just let them go. They had an Airbnb rented there too. And I thought I'll just let them go and unload, and Evan can come back the next morning, pick me up. Then I finally just said, I'm just coming off this mountain today. Y'all stop in here and get me. And they did, and I was glad we did it that way. But yeah, I could see it on their faces. They all got out of the car and looked at me. They were like, ooh, this doesn't look good.
That was early on, too.
So now, yeah. But now I just tell Beth, hey, I'm 3/4 the man I used to be.
When my oldest saw him for the first time, he's very concerned about people's feelings and like making sure he's not hurting people's feelings. And he said, "Ooh, puppy, you look different." When you could see it working on him, he's like, I don't want to say anything to hurt his feelings, but something has happened.
He's a sweet kid. He's 9.
While we were camping this weekend, he said, "Yeah, bro, you lost some pounds."
Norina says she's sad this is the last live.
I've enjoyed these lives. We've watched, again, some other thru hikers do them, and it just seemed like a neat thing to try. And 65-year-old man walking the AT is not the most popular demographic out there, but we ended up around 700 subscribers, and you all have been very faithful, very positive. There hadn't been any comments out of line at all. Some of the younger people have to deal with a different group, and then most of the people watching are similar demographic. I'll put that as nicely as I can. But I'm very, very pleased with all your encouragement, your support, your kind words, and the fact that, like I said earlier, you kind of got a sense who I am, and I appreciate that very much. That came through, over this medium.
Flower Power says, thanks for everything, Grayman and fam. Y'all are the best.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Y'all are the best. We'll go ahead and wrap this thing up. Any other questions you might want to answer, drop them in the comments. There's going to be probably
at least 3.
Maybe 3, maybe 4. We'll see how it all shakes out, but you'll know when it's the end. And but we've got a few more post-trail videos to work on, and we'll wrap it up. But I've enjoyed the hike. I've enjoyed you all. I've enjoyed these kids, and I might have slid back into regular life, but I'll never forget it. And I'm just feel very blessed. Things turned out the way they did, because a million things could have gone wrong, and they didn't. All right, we're gonna say goodbye for now. Y'all check out the next thing coming out Tuesday, and Tuesday thereafter until we wrap it up. All right, good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Bye.